What's going on, guys? A few friends of mine are looking to get their first motorcycle, and they asked me, you know, kind of the obvious questions: what should I get? What do you recommend? What size? First thing I always tell them, no matter what you choose, by no means buy a new bike. And I tell them not to buy a new bike for a few reasons. I'm sure, as many of you have heard, that when you first start riding, at some point you're probably going to drop your bike. Like it happened with me with my first bike. I ended up low siding around a corner. I was going maybe less than 10 miles an hour. I think it was a combination of like a slick road and, you know, bad throttle control. There's not much damage done to the bike. You know, the fairings, the bottom fairings were scratched up a little bit. The stop turn signals, the stalks, had a few scratches on them. I had another incident where one day I was pulling into my driveway, and as I got off the bike, I thought my kickstand was all the way down, but apparently it wasn't. And then when I went to get off the bike, obviously all the weight shifted. The kickstand went up and all the weight shifted, and because I wasn't ready for it, you know, I ended up dropping the bike again. So when people say that you're going to drop the bike, it doesn't mean you're going to have some massive, you know, 150 mile an hour crash. It'll probably be something like that. We try to take a turn too tight or not tight enough. First thing you want is your, you know, $8,000 to $15,000 or more, if you really fancy, you know, toy, to just be damaged because of something stupid. Second reason is that you want to buy used simply because of insurance purposes. I know if you're a younger guy, I was 19 when I got my first bike. My insurance, the insurance on my 600, some places quoted me $10,000 a year. And apparently that's not all that unheard of. If you want the insurance by yourself and have no experience, it's ridiculous. The insurance companies really try to fold you over on that. Because obviously when you have a new bike, you have to have full coverage. You have certain requirements that you have to meet. With a used bike, all you have to have is liability and very minimal coverage. So at that point, it's pretty much up to you, and that'll save you a lot of money as well. And the good thing with bikes is they don't depreciate nearly as much as cars do. That kind of brings me to my next point, that whether I should get a 250, a 600, 1,000, a hyper bike. Now typically, I don't think I've ever recommended anybody buy a hyper bike for their first bike, like a Hayabusa or a ZX14. And I don't think I've ever recommended a leader bike. But that's not to say you can't start on those. You can't start on those bikes and be just fine. I mean, I know people who've done it, and they ride every day. They haven't had any accidents or any problems. I recommend either like a 250 or 600. Now, if you're a little bit bigger, then yeah, I would definitely recommend get a 600. Just because they'll give you a little bit extra pep. Now, if you're 5'1" and 120 pounds, then yeah, I would recommend a 250, a 250 or 300 to start with. Mainly because at that height, you're not going to be able to flat foot or really even get your toes down, a good part of your foot down on anything other than a moped. You have to get comfortable backing up and balancing at stoplights. And it'll be easier on a 250 simply because the bikes are lighter and a lot of times the seat heights are lower. So to help you get used to it. And the good thing about 250s is that, especially a used 250, is again, they hold their value. What you pay for it used will be what you'll be able to sell it for, you know, in 3 to 6 months when you get ready to sell it. It really just depends on how many miles the bike has. So if you find a good deal, get a bike with low miles, again, you won't lose much money when you get ready to sell it. So you get to learn the experience. They're a little more forgiving. And you can get, you know, you can upgrade to the 600 or the 1,000 or whatever bike that you really wanted. I see a guy on a stretch bike and I'm going to go catch him. I want to check this thing out. took a CPR. I really don't like stretch bikes, but I said that's not bad. And I know the one thing is everybody always says, I don't want to get a 600, I don't want to get a 250, because I'm going to get bored of it, I'm going to get tired of it. Well, the fact of the matter is, see what he's going to do. I can't demonstrate this. The fact of the matter is, you're going to get tired of whatever bike you start on. You know, that's the reason that we have, you know, turbo and supercharged and nitrous, you know, Hayabusas. Like, don't use that as a deciding factor, and don't use the opinions of other people to decide what you should get. I don't know, depending on the crowd you're around, a lot of the old school, like a lot of older guys, and I heard this when I first got my bike, a lot of the older guys will tell you that a 600 is a girl's bike. What they don't realize is that the modern day 600 will easily outperform the later bike that they're used to riding. So don't let that sway your decision. Basically find something that appeals to you, that's comfortable, and that you can afford. You know, check out insurance prices. You want to look at your insurance prices beforehand, and just go to dealerships, talk to your friends, go to bike meets. See if some people let you sit on their bikes so you kind of get a feel for them, and then make your decision from there. Because nowadays, everybody's making good bikes. So basically, the one takeaway from this is get what you want. Start slow, especially if you have no experience on a motorcycle or a dirt bike. Take the MSF class, not just because of what it teaches you, which is not much, but it will help you get comfortable riding the bike, and it's an easier way to get your license than to go to DMV, than to go through the DMV and take their course. That sign says, "It's getting dark, run to Jesus." I'm glad that sign is there, because otherwise I will continue my life with debauchery and blasphemy. You guys just made all the difference. I like old trucks.